Amid the Texas heat, there is now an increased fire danger across much of the state. This has already resulted in fires in some regions. And today we're here with Texas A&M Forest Service Associate Director and Fire Chief Wes Morehead. Wes, thank you for coming on the show today.
Absolutely, Alex. Glad to be with you.
Okay, aside from the obvious, it's been dry, it's been hot. Why is there a particularly high fire danger across the state right now?
You're right, Alex. It's been hot and dry. That's not unusual for Texas. It's summer in Texas, July in Texas. But this year we've had what we like to call a flash drought. So we've had about 6 weeks without rain, without precipitation, and what that's done is really dry out our wildland fuels. And when I say fuels, our wildfire fuels, just talking vegetation. So if your grass is like mine at the house, it's brown, it's dried out, and that's really receptive to wildfire. See the same thing in brush and our trees right now as well.
Yeah, so what are we seeing across the state? You know, we mentioned we've already started to see fires. I know there was one, north of us here in the Brazos Valley that has been particularly bad, really all around us here. So what are we seeing across the state?
Yeah, this year actually started out kind of slow as far as wildfires were concerned. We had a fairly wet spring, so we grew a lot of green grass, and that kind of inhibited wildfire growth. But over the last six weeks, with the drying conditions, we've seen wildfires really spark across the state, border to border. At this point, we're seeing a lot of drought, and so there's really no portion of the state that's not affected and not seeing wildfires.
So what's the response been like from the Texas A&M Forest Service? Obviously, you guys get called in when a fire gets to be too much for local control.
That's exactly right, Alex. So when a fire or wildfire exceeds local capacities, they simply don't have enough firefighters, or they don't have enough equipment or the right equipment. The Texas A&M Forest Service is called in to augment their response efforts. So we'll bring firefighters, qualified wildland firefighters, as well as heavy equipment in the form of dozers and motor graders, as well as aircraft, helicopters, and fixed wing air tankers to help augment that local capacity to get the wildfire out.
So the reality is, we may think that, oh, it's hot, it's dry, and weather can play a part in this, in sparking some of those wildfires. But a majority of these wildfires, they're caused by us, by people. So what can we do to help you guys out in this really, really tough situation?
Yeah, you're right on the money. 9 out of 10 wildfires in the state of Texas are human caused. So 90% of the wildfires that we see are us doing something, normal day-to-day activities that initiate a spark, create a heat source, and start a wildfire. So it's just us being cognizant of our daily activities. Make sure before you burn brush, before you burn debris, you check with local officials, with the county, to make sure there's no burn bin in place. If there's a burn bin in place, don't do any outside burning. Also be cognizant of simple things like driving over dead grass, or parking on dead grass. Undercarriages of cars, exhaust system underneath cars, extremely hot. And if you park or drive over dead grass, it can actually ignite that grass and start a wildfire.
It is crazy how something that seems so benign can actually lead to something that is so devastating with some of these wildfires.
Absolutely.
So we've talked a lot about what's going on now. We know that it's been hot and dry here in July, but we're heading into August. It's still hot and dry, according to what our pinpoint weather team is saying. What are we looking at in terms of long-term drought conditions, and how are you guys gearing up for as we move into August, September, October?
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be dry through August, and so we're planning accordingly. We brought in additional resources to augment our normal staffing, and we've got them pre-positioned throughout the state. So we don't see any precipitation, unfortunately, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and so we've stood up resources accordingly and are ready to respond as we see ignitions on the landscape.
Wes, thank you so much for joining us. We've got more information about burn bans and fire prevention that's on our website. Wes, thank you for what you guys do, and we hope you stay safe out there. Thanks again.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you having me.